Welcome back everyone to the channel. We are here going over something a little bit different. I usually do regional meta breakdown videos, but because it is the first week of MRC, we decided to go ahead and break down the first online Yeti event and break down sort of the winning list. I grabbed all the lists that are 3x. So anything that was 3 wins, 0 losses, 1 loss, and better, we pulled into here. I went in order of the way they are on Omnidex. I'll link the sent event link in down below if you want people to check that out as well. So what we're going to get right into is that we do have our very first MRC Yeti weekly winner. That is Wenslump, otherwise known as Tyler. They ended up going 4-0 on Fire Tristana. So the Fire Tristana list looks like pretty much like it's the Fire Xander list, just with Tristan. Wow, I'm saying Tristana. I played too much League of Legends and Legend of Runeterra lately. Tristan, we have regular Spirit of Fire, Tristan level 1, Assassin Ripper, Fire Bobble, Mercenary's Blade, which is a new addition to MRC as well. Remove Preparation Count to get this card as well. Another quick card. You could do multiple forms of Blazing Throw. You have Quicksilver Grail, Sword of Seeking, Terrafrang, Water Resonance Bobble, Wind Resonance Bobble, and Verucan Soul Knife. Pretty self-explanatory about how the material deck works. Going into the main board, we still have Lurking Salient. We have Sable Remnant, which is a new card from MRC. It is a card that gets +1, so it does a 2-1 if you have the class bonus. And has a floating memory as well to pay for costs like, say, Assassin Ripper or your level 1, Assassin Ripper. And also Tristan as well, because it is not a class bonus floating memory. For Scavenger Raccoons, if you're expecting a lot of Erupting, Merlin, or something like that in the meta. 1 Vicious Slice, which is a really good card. It's a card that goes ahead, and as long as the attacker is attacking a human, which actually all champions right now in the game are human, the attacker gets +1, so it is a 3 attack for 1, which is pretty good, just as good as Steven got. You don't get the draw card, but still a really, really good attack card. You have Arthur, Blazing Throws, Captivating Cutthroat, another new card from MRC. So want to get you +1 attack with a class bonus. It also has on attack deal 1 to your champion. So it's a little iffy because you get in there for 3. It replaces, say, your Blitz Mages for 1 less. But then it also deals 1 to you. So sometimes you have to be a little careful when you're utilizing this card. But it's pretty, very good. It's replacing those Blitz Mages in those lists, like I said. Here's something with Arthur. You're going ahead and swing in for 4 damage. But dealing 1 to yourself is a pretty good comeback. We have the usual 4 Clumsy Apprentice, 3 Quarazi Arsonist. We have 4 Hasties, 4 Mark to Targets, gets a prep counter as well, 4 Blind Explosives, 4 Mining Flames, and 4 Rokokos. So pretty much what it looks like here, this Vicious Slice is replacing the original, I think it is, not Mark to Target, it's Prepared Strike, I think I want to say. I could be wrong. Another 1-drop attack card that required EV Fire, so it sort of gets you away into around that. If you want, we do have Xander Prepared Scout level 1, if you want to go that way, instead to get the Glimpse 2 Preparation counter. You have a Smoke Bomb, you have Viridian Protective Trinket. For the water matchups, 3 Surging Bolts, which are really, really good because in Imbue 3, you're mostly all fire. It deals 3 target champion. If it was Imbue, it deals 4. So a way to sort of close out the game a little bit quickly as well. And then 3 Vermilion Degree, which go ahead and let you deal 3 to 1 target champion or clear up an ally as well. Well, that is the list for 1 to love. We're going to go ahead into deck number 2 here, which we have Landon Arrow. Again, I apologize ahead of time if I'm mispronouncing any names and like that. I never said English speaking, I should say, was my strong suit. Sorry about that. Things are loading out, and I don't like things loading out during my videos. So, it was playing Merlin. We did throw in a new Fragment Spirit of Fire. This is the one that gets you Gloom 6, then draw 6. And then you go ahead and you get to go ahead and summon a Spirit Shard token. But the Spirit Shard token does come in, and once you're at level 3, you can sacrifice at any point to draw a card. So you have Lorraine, Merlin 2, Merlin 3, Chalice of Blood, pretty much the whole list that you expect with Prismatic Edge and Majestic Spirit. And then going into the main list, Dungeon Guides, Fast Cures, Library Witch, expected. Reprogram is a pretty good card. Card lets you go ahead and give an ally monster on a turn. If that was on a top down, you put 2 debuff counters on it instead, and it's a floating memory, so pretty good for 2. You have 4 Resolute Stands, 3 Savage Slash, and 4 Shieldmates. Then we have the usual Creative Shock, Cremation Ritual, Devastating Blow, Fireball, Swordman, the usual list at this point. Nothing else really new going into this. You run Meltdowns, your selected phase of domain list. You have Exercise Curses still on the side for Diana's. You have Blanche's, Nullified Lantern, and Spirit Blade Ascensions. Spirit Ascensions in there, of course, to throw in for those lists depending on what you're playing. You need to flicker some cards. Going to deck number 3, we had Luxem Xander, another list that is sort of known. Coming up, we have a really good card that's being played a lot lately. It's Backup Charger. It is a 0-drop, pay 3 to draw a card in your memory and get a Power Soul token. This card has no downside. It's the fact that it comes in. It's pretty much almost like a GCR. The fact you have to pay 3 for it, but you don't lose any value. So you can either grab it Materialization for right-click, pay 3, draw a card in the memory, and then recollect it. You could have it out there later on. You could play it in Tony. It pretty much lets you draw a card in your memory for free. There's no other requirements, so you don't need an automaton. You don't need anything else like that. So it pretty much just goes ahead and gets you that draw card. So going into the rest of this, we have Blinding Seal, Death, level 1, which is all expected. Dungeon Guides, Exercise Curses, Fast Cures, Gwains. Incapacitate, which is a new card. You are an assassin. You can go ahead and bring this card in. You now get a negate target activation card. You don't get to banish it like with, say, a Frostbind. But with the fact that you are going to be going ahead and getting a counter spell for basically 2 is a really, really strong card. Now, Juggernauts, Oasis Trading Post, pretty much everything else is the same. We did add a Turbo Charge in here, so in addition to this card, because you do have the backup charger, you can play this card to sacrifice a power cell, and then you get to draw 2 cards for it. Hey, Shock, Explain Explosives, everything else is pretty much all the same across the board. And to the sideboard, you have the Spirit of Serene Water for the certain matchups like Diana. You have another Gwain, you have a couple more Incapacitates if you want to play more of the control matchup. You have 4 Peace Reunions, 1 playing Explosives, and 4 Fracturize. Into deck number 4, we have Waffles. Waffle is also playing Merlin, but instead of doing Experimented Fragment, we have the regular Spirit of Fire list. We have a Chalice and Blood, pretty much nothing else new into this list here. And if you're going to list the material deck, we did end up adding the Retold Fortune because of the fact you are level 2 mage. You can use this card to go ahead and discard up 1 spell card if you do draw a card, and you can use it for the floating memory. It's another way to gain floating memory into your deck, into your grave, so you can go ahead and level up a little bit easier, or pay cards out like Terrafraying, Drawn Blade, or stuff like that. As we go further down in the list here, we have pretty much everything else just the same, Purge and Flames, Sparkle Lights, so nothing else really new. Going to the sideboard, we have a couple of plants. We have Exil's Curses, we have an Incinerator Fractal. We do have 2 new Reduced to Ash. It's a card that goes that you destroy target item or weapon memory cost 0, or a card reserve cost 4. So you could destroy some Fractals, a couple of the instances with it. But overall, pretty much the Merlin list we're expecting to see at this point. Going into KB Death Show, we do have a Spirit of Wind list. We do have Lind, Ally, Lorraine. Again, this one's running the backup charge I was talking about earlier. Oh, this card's really good. This card, I think, is now up to $20 in TCG player. So this card's really, really good. This one looks like running the automaton list with Wind Lorraine. So you have Charge Mannequin here, which is going to gain you a +1 attack and becomes a 2-drop 2/3. With this line, it gets +1 attack if you want a power cell. You run Gillis, Lowercase Talent, Manufacture Cell, which will choose summon a power cell token to buff some of those other cards. As well as you get to go ahead and draw a card if you control an automaton. We have Asen, we have Androka, Eternal Herald. So this is an Imbue 3. When it's imbued, it gets +1/+1, and it has Vigor. And then in class bonus with Warrior, it gets a buff counter. So pretty much it comes pretty much a 3/3 for 3 cost as long as you're level 1 Warrior. Really good. It is a unique ally there, so keep an eye out for that. Cell Vanguard, another card that comes in with a Warrior, comes in and get a power cell token rested, and then also as the class bonus floating memory for 1/2. The body isn't too bad, not the greatest, but you do get that power cell token to start buffing your other automatons. Dream Fairy's in there for the pretty much good ally card. It's a 1/2 stealth. You get to go ahead and banish something for the entire game as those cards are removed. Really good stat line. In advance, you get to go ahead and untap an attacking ally, so you could do something like Gillis, Lurking Assailant, or a couple of cards you might be able to buff along the way. Shivakoak Assassin, really good stat line, 3-drop 2/2 body with self. As this in ALC, is probably one of the better win card allies that we got out of ALC. This card is really good for the stat line of a 2/2. On top of it being an automaton, fits into the game plan that we're trying to do here, and stealth makes it really, really hard to deal with. For Stifling Trap, new card coming out of the Recollection set. It's a card that goes ahead, you may pay for 2, deal 2 target ally, and negate all on-enter effects. Really good if you're facing something like Ghost of Pendragon, you're facing Dungeon Guide. What else has on-enter? Ace and Protector. You can also technically do it to Ace and Protector as well. You can negate your Ace and Protector's own bounce if you really want to pay up to 7 cards in your hand, but if you want to get this turn 1, you can. So you can turn 1, play Ace and Protector, on-enter a trigger on the stack, you go to head, and then you're going to Stifling Trap your own Ace and Protector, deal 2 to it, and you negate the on-enter ability, so you get an Ace and Protector that is a 3/4 body, not having to sack anything, or bounce anything, I should say, in response to that trigger. 4 Surfer Group, 3 Trade Hawk, 3 Verdant Degree card I'm still not sold on. It gives an ally +2 attack, really good if you pair it with Rally in advance. Otherwise, you can destroy 1 target Fantasia. You don't have to worry too much about Fantasias too much. And then you have suppress 1 target ally. It sort of makes it a worse Zephyr. So I think most of you can be using this for this up to 1 ally gets +2 until end of turn. Maybe you might use the suppress target ally if you're going to, and use the imbue if you say you have a Taunter on the field or a Majestic Spirit on the end of the use on your opponent's field, and you sort of got to deal with that board state. Then win Vanguard and run 3 Zephyr as well. In this sideboard here, we have Quicksilver Girl, one of the best altogether in the game. We'll probably have a video on that coming out soon. 1 Resonance Bauble, 3 Eternal Magistrate, good for facing the Merlin matchup, so you pretty much make sure they can't material or to material deck. Or if you're facing something like, let's say, Fire Xander or the Fire Chosen I talked about before. Make sure they can't fast activate those Majestic Daggers, Broken Soul Knives if you go ahead and play this card. 3 Hurricane Sweeps for the ally matchups, and then we have 3 Veiling Breezes for facing the Erupting, Merlin, or Rye lists. Really interesting to see these automaton lists come out. I'm hoping to see more of it. We have, I think, one other automaton list coming out shortly in this video that we're going to have with Tony. We're going to the next deck list. We have Tristan, Fragment Sphere to Wind, playing the new Tristan, Shadow Dancer. We're not running the other Tristan, the Tristan, I think, Shadow Reaver. We're just going straight Shadow Dancer, Assassin Ripper, Safeguard Amulet, Terrafring, Gear Strike Gloves to get the preparation counter, Windwalker Boots to also get your preparation counters if you're not attacking, Gloam's Fire Mantle, probably one of the better cards in the game right now. You go ahead and get to pay 3 to summon a Shadow token, and Element of Fantasia allies you control have Ambush, and then a Shadow's Claw as well. The Shadow Claw is as long as you have 4 more preparation counters on your champion, you may active card Material deck, so another fast activation dagger, and then allows your Fantasias to go ahead and attack with it, as well as they put the durability counter on the Shadow's Claw. So all your ominous shadows are going to go ahead and swing in for 2 instead of 1. We have Dungeon Guide, Mastermind Scheme, Mastermind Scheme, which is going to go ahead and come in and then double your preparation counters, which you're getting well off of Tristan. You want to try and do it so you can get the 4. So you can go and get the double draw off the Tristan Higher Blade, reprogram, debuff counters, Sadie Bloodhunter. It's a pretty good card. I've been hearing some decent things about it. I haven't really seen it play too much. On paper, it's good, but I haven't really talked to many people who have been resolving the card. But like I said, on paper, it's pretty good. 4 cards, the Outlook is not a preparation counter. It will let you prevent your opponent from interacting on your turn, and you get the Glimpse one as well. You get 3 Dream Fairies, 2 Fairy Whispers, going to filter the card to the top of your deck. Reclaims to get floating memory and draw a card. Sorry, not draw a card, just return target ally to your hand if you need to. Scout the land, which is your top 4, then draw a card, pretty much replacing the Fairy Whispers. 4 Stifling Traps, like we talked about before, really good into those Dungeon Guides or some of those other decks. So if the wind's going to come in, you may go ahead and draw a card and then put a preparation counter on your champion. You can use as a fact because you are Wind class bonus Assassin. And then the fact it costs 2 is pretty strong. You just replace itself for a prep counter. Tempest Downfall comes in. So this card is interesting. So this one does, you don't have the class bonus effect. So then you have the deal 3 to target unit. If that unit ends up feeling do an additional 3 to it. So this can go into champions as well, if I'm pretty sure. So you can deal 6 to a champion with this card because the fact it does a level up, it is a different unit. Don't quote me, I might be wrong. Double check with your judges on this, but you can deal 6 with a fast speed wind spell, which is really interesting. And you have 3 Veiling Breeze, 4 Windmill Engineers. The card is strong because it goes as imbues 2, replace itself, draw a card into your memory for a 1/1 body. 3 Zephyrs, 3 Purple Waltz, which go ahead and remove prep extra counters. X+3 will be dealt to your champion next turn as a preventing card. And then if 3 or greater gets summoned to Ominous Shadow tokens, so it splits is very hard into the Ominous Shadow game plan. You have 4 Shadow Resonance, which is going ahead to recover 2, then you get to draw a card. And then if you have 4 more preparation counters, you get to also summon a Shadow token. And then you have Shadow Strike, which is another preparation attack card, where it gets X, and if it's repaired, it becomes unblockable. So 4 plus whatever you have for tokens can go ahead and close out the game for you. Going into the sideboard, if you have Nullifying Lantern, staple as always. Dusk Soul Stone, if you're facing like an ally list, go ahead and come in and banish 2 cards from the graveyard. And then Fantasy you have Spell Shroud as well. And don't forget, Dusk Soul Stone can target any graveyard. It doesn't have to be yours, it can be your opponent's graveyard as well. Incapacitates for if you need to play a little bit of the control matchup. 3 Conjure Unit if you're facing Erupting, get to imbue 2, remove 6 cards. And then for Disagree, like we talked before, I'm still not sold on this card. I can see where it can come in, maybe buffing some of your Ominous Shadow tokens. But it's in their sideboard. I'm not sure too much how much Survivor is playing it. Going into the next list with Stevo. Stevo did end up running Spirit of Slime, brought the Slime Sylvie list with Slime Sovereign, which is new. It goes to the next Slime Ally card. Next, it costs 2 less this turn. It's about for 2 additional buff counters on it. So pretty much everything Guy's Blessing, Horn of Beast Calling, Stone Skipper, not the Fire Slime I've been seeing going around a little bit. Running into the Baby Gray Slimes, which comes in, gets her to draw your card. Forest Cakes to draw your card as well. Limitless Slime, which is just a really, really good card. Young Beast Binder gets to come in and go ahead and get buff counters on your allies as well, and then Floating Memory. You have all the slimes here. You have Baby Red Slime, Slime Eruption, go ahead and combo off, try and get a couple of extra points of damage on. You have Gather Slimes, which you go ahead and draw a card as well. Fast activation, reveal attack project, recover X amount of slime would reveal this way, so you go ahead and recover 5 if you want. Baby Green Slime comes in, suppress. You could do things where you could, in response to level 2, enter, play Baby Green Slime, get suppress counter, and give it a buff counter as well if you want. Green Slime, regular Green Slime comes in, 2 more buff counters on it, leaves buff up other boards. So Slime Blessing, put up 3 units per level counter each one. Slime Shield, gets those Slime Shields. And then from there, we have Slime's Blessing, like I said, and Slime Shield as well. 4 Storm Slides to go ahead and close out the game. As you banish from Slimes, you get to deal spell damage to your opponent. You get Ethereal Slime, really, really good card. Slime King and Vampiric Slime as well. I'm not too familiar with this list. I have to watch more gameplay with this. People are brewing with this, so I don't have too much of an insight into this deck just yet, but hopefully I'll have more once regionals start coming out. No more understanding of how the gameplay works. Now, finally, you have Viridian Protective Trinket for the water. Blanche comes in if you want to go ahead and play some of those cards to counter some of those erupting game plans. Slime Blessing, Slime Shield, a couple of Twilight Slimes to give you Spell Shroud, and then 2 more Vampiric Slime. Going into the next list, I have Ver. I put Very, so Ver, sorry. You're just Very at this point. Another Winter Sun. This one's going to go ahead and do the Shadow Reaver. This one lets you go into level up into Shadow Dancer after, going the linear level 3 to level 3 game plan, which will let you go ahead and draw 2 cards, and it allows you to get the Banish 4, so pretty much just like drawing 6. Gearstar Gloves, Windwalker Boots, Glimpse of Mantis Shadow, pretty much everything else in the sideboard is the same, and the list is pretty much the same. You have your Dungeon Guides, you have your Incapacitate, you have your Mastermind Schemes, you have some reprograms and Sadies. This one does add Sharpened Blade, which does give you a dagger plus 2 attack on the turn and gives you a preparation counter. You do have to go ahead and target a dagger, though you can't just place the game a preparation counter. Slices in there, the fact that you go ahead and prepare 3, you on hit get to prepare. If it was prepared, you declare an additional attack, and then you get to create a copy that isn't prepared and gets a +3, so you can deal 6. So knowing how to sort of do the game plan, you usually want to attack an ally, then use the redirect to attack something else for 6 if you want to deal more damage to it. This one has the Betraying Blade as well. It's another assassin card. You may pay 2 on attack, so you can attack with this for a dagger, and per preparation counter as floating memory as well. Black Market Broker gives you a preparation counter as well, and has stealth because you're pretty much stacking a whole bunch of preparation counters. So you do get to, on average, get Black Market Broker with a 2/3 body stealth. Quasi I looked up before, Scout the Land, Stifling Trap, Survey the Winds, Zephyr, pretty much all the lists that we've seen before and talked about earlier in the video. We have Grim Foreboding. It lets you summon an Ominous Shadow token, and then if it doesn't, it's another +1 attack on turn. So do keep in mind this can also buff your Retaliates. We have Pembrel Waltz. We have Shadow Resonance and Shadow Strike we talked about before. And to this sideboard, we have 3 Slip Away, though, which go ahead and get to Imbue 2, and then target becomes resistant. If it's imbued, it also gains Stealth and Spell Shells on the turn. Another way to sort of protect your champion a little bit. Orchestrated Seizure. This card's interesting. I've played this a couple times myself. I'm not sold on it, but it does let you steal your opponent's floating memory. So if you're expecting to play something like a Nico list, has a lot of floating memory, you can use it. But do note, if you're playing this versus Nico, it's whenever a floating memory card is removed from their graveyard, Nico will get a Lash counter. So you gotta be careful when you're using this card, especially the decks you're using it against. But it could come into play as you want to pay some of your costs and not if you don't have any floating memory yourself. Everyday Protection Kit, Terraforming, and the Nullifying Lantern. So Mona has a Spirit of Water Diana. So still running Duststalker. We have Backup Charger in there we talked about before. Flash Flash Grenade, Mercurial Heart. This is an Automaton list. This is the new Regalia item. So this is on a buff counter on target Automaton creature control. Not really sold. You give something a +1 counter. I mean, I guess you'll maybe use it for something like Carter. Later on, we can go ahead and make it a 3/4 cleave on average. I'm not sold on how well that really is going to work versus playing Wind, but something to be interesting. So you run the Backstab Dungeon Guide, Reposition, Reprogram. This is running Airship Cruiser, Surveilling Decree, which is a really, really strong card. I like this a lot. It's pretty much replacing your Frostbinds at this point. You get to draw a card of the memory with it, and you get the -3 attack at target unit attacking. This card's strong. I'm a huge fan of Cerulean Decree. 4 Quasi Trappers for Dahlia, because of the fact you are running an automaton list. Dahlia is an automaton, so you go to get to use the on-attack ability as well as buff with the range a little bit and get to sort of combo off with that interaction. You can maybe buff out to a 2/4 with a Mercurial Heart if you really want to, as long as you can give it ranged, because you can get a big Dahlia actually if you want to play it this way. You have a lot of cards in your graveyard. It does get range X based on the water element cards, and being able to close out the game that way. Nullifying Lantern does give it an issue though. Yeah, for 3 Desperate Dives, another really good card. Card's pretty much replacing Reflecting Edge, the fact that it costs 2. Then you get to deal for the next X damage for this turn. Note, this card didn't have errata, it's only until the end of turn. Where it does work, Deflecting Edge. So you prevent the X amount of damage or X is the amount of water elements on your graveyard. The unit becomes distant, so if you have 5 water element cards, you prevent the next 5. And if you take a couple attacks and then this fine goes away, it pretty much acts like a pseudo Deflecting Edge. You have 4 Fracturize, 2 Frostbinds, 4 Frostbind Paladins for the amount of floating memory it has, 4 Lost in Thought, another good card that you could pay 0 for just to get fast float into your graveyard. 3 Desperate Sea Divers for Automaton, 4 Tactical Retreats, which is another floating memory as well, ends the combat phase, and 4 Carters to get the extra bonus from the Carter to go ahead and sacrifice something and then get to draw a card. So then we have Nullifying Lantern. Not sure how much you want to bring this in because Nullifying Lantern does end up hurting your list. Your list does run a lot of if water element cards are in your graveyard. Nullifying Lantern does turn that game mechanic off, so you have to be very, very careful when you're going to go ahead and use Nullifying Lantern. For Name Protect Trinket, 4 Gwains, really good card. 3 Freezing Rounds, 1 Frostbind, another Snow Fairy, and you have the Creeping Torments and the Power Cell token. And then on to our finalists. We have Pasta with a Tony automaton list. So we have Spirit of Wind, we have Tony of Creation's Will, which is making tokens, power cells tokens, go ahead and make swords. We have Backup Charger, Bullock Sword, Eye of Argus, which gives you something to True Sight if you need to. One of the Great Sword, Save Your Name It, Smoke Bomb, and Terra Frame. So like the other automaton list sub 4, it's running 4 charged mannequins. This one's inside of the one, the Harvest MK2, which does give you automaton allies on death, creative power cell token, which could combo with Tony Creation's Will. 3 Inspiring Calls, go ahead if your champion attacks, you get another attack. Manufacture cells are great power cells. Savage Smashes in there, you get Floating Memory, Guardian Sword that go ahead and then Floating Memory and Swing for 4. 3 Take Points, which does give you the fact that if your champion gets taunted at the beginning of the turn to protect your allies, and also has Floating Memory. So pretty much game plan is protecting your automatons as much as possible to get the value out of it. 4 Turbocharge, go ahead and draw some cards when you're sort of sacrificing all these power cells that you're generating. Armor Valkyrie is automaton, so it does have Steadfast. It is a 2-2 with Steadfast. If retaliates, it becomes a 4-2. Card's pretty strong. Cell Generator, I think this card is nuts if it sticks around, if you're able to combo it with a taunt. If you're able to do it with Creation's Will, you get 2 power cell tokens on Foster, then you go ahead and make 2 swords. You're pretty much getting 6 attack damage off of this card. Technically 7 if you count itself with Tony Creation's Will. It's a really nice combo piece. I don't know how viable it is. Every time I see like I'm pounding it down, or if I'm playing this, it's more of a win more card. So it's really interesting to see if this card comes into more play later on down the field. 3 Dream Fairy, 3 Favorite Winds to keep your allies alive, 4 Rally in advance for your attacks. You have 3 Reclaims, 3 Scout the Lands, 4 Shimmelcook Assassins, 3 Veiling Breezes, 3 Vigilant Sentry. I like this card. It is a 2-3 class bonus taunt. So you turn 1 play your Tony, turn 2 you can play this, keep your other automatons alive. Like this is really, really good at keeping your boards alive. It's a 2-3 body that does, on average, require 2 attackers to deal with it. Windblast Gatekeeper, this one's I'm not as sold on because you get a buff counter, becomes a 2-3 stat line, but it does require 4. It's just the worst Vigilant Sentry to me. So, but the fact it doesn't have a class bonus, it makes it a little bit better. It's why I'm running 2 of them. But I'm not exactly sold versus just running 4 Vigilant Sentry in this list. 2 Windblast Hurricane Farm. This is the one that lets you go ahead and with how much wind you're running, just generate a power cell token, create a sword instead. So pretty much just getting that Creation's Will trigger multiple times with this card. They have Windblast Rangefinder, which is give target automaton stat. Pretty much give it a buff counter. You can go ahead and target, where was it? You can target stuff like your Assassin Automaton. You have stuff like your Armored Valkyrie that can go ahead and buff your Charged Mannequin. You have a couple of cards you can go ahead and buff with Windblast Rangefinder, but it is a 1x copy because you don't get the other uses out of it. Into Cyber, you have Notify Lantern, you have Blanche, Resolute Stand to go to keep yourself alive a little bit more. You have Conjure Union for dealing with those erupting decks, Eternal Magistrate, 2 Innovative Agility, 2 to go to D-level if you really need to, and then gain Stealth or Spell Shot, and 2 Zephyr as well. Well, everyone, I know this was a lot to go over in our first week of video, but this is the first week of MRC. I tried to touch on a whole bunch of different things, what people are doing. So keep an eye out. We do end up having a Ascent Taipei soon. We're going to have the Luxurious Map Tournament at the time of this recording this Saturday, June 1st. So we might see some more of this come out of that as well. We'll see a video for that come out later on as well. But I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope everyone has it going, and have a good day. Peace.